Welcome to the Strive, Seek, Find podcast with me, Tom Heaton. Bill Gates was an excellent programmer. He used his extensive knowledge of computers to create one of the biggest businesses the world has seen, Microsoft. When you analyse this incredible success, it's interesting to reflect on what might be the major contributor. Was it a particularly enthusiastic teacher? Was it a passion for aspects of mathematics? In fact, it was almost entirely a lucky feature of his environment. During the time of his formative years, the time when he was starting down a journey towards his ultimate vocation, computers were quite rare. And the challenge about learning anything really is that you need lots of practice. So if you were very interested in computers at that time, it was very difficult for you to get better at it. You simply didn't have the facilities to practice. But this is where Bill Gates was lucky, because he was fortunate enough to go to a school with just such a computer. This environmental luck is perhaps one of the most fascinating aspects of our environment, and to my mind one of the biggest challenges of looking at cases of immense success and trying to draw lessons. We can look at Bill Gates and see many possible reasons why Microsoft thrived. He was undoubtedly intelligent and very clearly driven, but he would still have never succeeded without that computer at that school. If he went to almost any other school, almost all of which had no computer facilities, he would not have become the expert with computers that he became. We can therefore see that this environmental luck creates an incredible threshold effect, or another way of describing it is a filter effect on what people can and can't do. This is something we often miss. We focus on the individual and forget the setting that the individual is in. In his book Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell gives a very good analogy of this. He describes how if we were wanting to explore why trees grow so well, we would not go and look at the acorns. We would instead look at their environment. We'd explore the sunlight, the water, the nutrients, the local competition, the predators, all of which have a much bigger impact on the ultimate height of the tree. And yet, our analysis of individual success is looking at acorns. It is trying to describe why they are better seeds, and why these seeds grew into such different trees. We often fail to adequately consider the environment. This is so important to recognise because this is the factor which is genuinely modifiable, at least in theory, if not always in practice. This differentiates it from one of the other major forms of luck, which is genetic. This seems a lot less modifiable, although the understanding of genes may be changing to some degree, and while this is very interesting, it certainly feels less practical. Yes, many aspects of this environmental luck are difficult to truly impact upon. It would not have been possible to give every school in the world a computer at the time that Bill Gates was first learning to code, nor can we ever really hope to impact the more subtle environmental factors, the parenting style, the peer groups that we form, and the serendipity of daily interactions. But they do remain possible targets. The question then all becomes about how we do this and which ones we target. But this is a tractable question. As such, with enough thought and learning, we can engineer our environment to better suit our ultimate goal. The challenge, as with the Bill Gates example, is recognising those environmental impacts at all. This is often harder than we think. I will expand with another critical example, this time from my own work in healthcare. Following progress in the aviation industry with safety, the field of human factors is increasingly relevant. Human factors, also known as ergonomics, is such a key part of complex and critical systems like aviation, nuclear safety and healthcare, because humans are fallible. The key recognition of it is that this fallibility needs engineering out. The problem is the default mindset when catastrophes arise, which is that this is human error. We look at individual mistakes. We blame the individual. Even if there isn't any moral culpability, we somehow think that it could have been otherwise, that a better trained individual or someone with more appropriate traits would have stopped it happening. In contrast, human factors aims to completely engineer out the possibility of the problem. That is, the focus is on creating an environment where doing the wrong things is impossible, where human error continues to happen, as it always will, but the system stops any problems occurring. We need to embrace this approach to everything in our life. Whatever our pursuits, we are fallible, fickle, and with limited attention and willpower. We are human, and we naturally go about our days ignoring these facts about ourselves. But we can still direct these limited resources at creating the right conditions to thrive and succeed. That is engineering our environment. This is accepting the nature of our humanity and creating a system that works with it. Our environment is incredibly influential. In many ways, it exerts a powerful threshold effect on what we can and can't do. Some of this appears like luck, but we can make some impact, especially around the smaller factors. And indeed, it is here where we should focus. It is in engineering our environment to make failure impossible that we should make our goal. We should be accepting of our fallibility, accepting of our human nature, and exerting ourselves to work around it. We should be cultivating the perfect soil for us to grow in. Thank you for listening. To keep up to date and to follow my writings, subscribe to me on Substack, which is striveseekfind.substack.com, or follow me on X at @2striveseekfind.